This is Deal Dissection with Wilson and Ralph. We're part of Compass.
Real
And
estate agents and real estate investors at night.
real estate agents and investors, yes.
Yeah.
Um,
And we're speaking about 500 Fourth Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, apartment 10E. First
yeah, so let
question.
me ask you first off, how did you find the deal? Because this is what's cool about this deal is it's kind of operating on two sides at once. So how did you meet the
Right.
seller?
So I met the sellers of this condo actually from a listing of mine that I have in Bed-Stuy right before the whole shutdown happened. So this was like in March, early March.
Yeah.
They came to see the house, and the house was actually literally still in shambles. There was only sheetrock up, so there was no light in there. I'm showing them the house, and I didn't think much of it. They told me, we do have to sell in order to purchase. So I was like, hey, I can help you if you don't have a broker yet. So, I didn't think that they would be so serious about the property that I'm showing them because it was only 25% complete. So, I get a call from her, actually a text message the following night, and she's like, "Hey, what was the price on that property again, and what's the estimated time of completion?" So I relayed that information to her, and we started the contracts right away once we agreed on a price. Um, Obviously, COVID played into pricing. Hey, we're about to go into shutdown. We don't know what the world's going to look like after tomorrow, and so on. So we were able to negotiate a little bit for her on the sale price. Plus, she's buying it incomplete as of yet. So once we teed up that contract, we started negotiating on what I can do for her by listing the property. Because in order for her to purchase that property, she needs to sell the current condo that she's living in.
Tell us, tell us a little bit about the condo itself. Where was the condo?
The condo is like on the borderline of Park Slope and Gowanus on Fourth Ave
Yeah.
between, what is it,
Between
12th,
10th and 11th, I think.
10th and 11th? Yeah.
Use the corner.
Good location. Subway's right there. Beautiful building. I mean, it almost looks like you're living in a hotel. Very well kept. The unit itself is a two-bed, two-bath, approximately 1,100 square feet, private terrace or balcony, and the building has a gym, a common area, all the glitz and
Yeah,
glamour that
really
most
nice
new
outdoor
developments.
space. It's a very nice building.
Yeah, it is super
It's
nice.
kind of like the original condo out there because now that 15th Street, 16th Street, and Prospect Expressway is like condo, 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 condo. But that
Right.
was that was there before those got there, so it kind of paved the way in some ways.
Yeah, they were there. They lived there for what was it? It was already like 8 years they've had the condo.
Yeah, so the building opened I think 2012, and then they moved
Yeah,
in 2013, if I remember right.
right, right.
Um, yeah, so they were there for a while. They have the tax abatement. Um, I think what kind of the first obstacle for this deal, in my opinion, was that because of COVID, they had one idea of what they would get in their mind, and then
Right.
a different reality kind of in front of them. So that
Yeah,
was like your first problem, I thought.
that was big because pre-COVID, they thought they could have gotten like 1.35, and that was kind of close pre-COVID, but obviously after all the shutdowns, things really slowed down, and there wasn't as many buyers, especially for condos
Especially for condos, yeah.
in New York City. It seemed like the pattern was going outside of New York, upstate or um, Long Island, anywhere where you can have your own private space and a yard. And
It's
if you
funny
have,
because they themselves were spending most of their time upstate, right?
yeah, yep,
So they were like the very target customer who would buy the place was, the sellers who were at that time upstate. So they were definitely suffering from that move shift in the way people were thinking. So
yeah.
what did you get them at to originally list at?
We originally listed at
Was it
1.275,
1.275? Okay.
or actually 1.3. like 1.295 we started. And
Right,
then
right, right.
I think after 30 days, and this is what I usually do with most of my sellers, is like after 30 days, if we don't have anything solid, we need to reconsider the price.
And you did Compass Coming Soon to begin, right? For the
I did.
first,
Yep.
yeah. So no days on market.
Right. We
And
started that way for about 2 weeks.
you've had it on
Coming soon
Compass
for
Coming
2 weeks.
Soon.
Started at 1.295, dropped it to 1.275 after
We
about
only
30
got
days.
one or two showings when we had it at 1.295, right?
Yeah, very slow traction. So that's a big indication that you're either priced wrong or not marketing correctly.
Yeah.
I was,
How many were in the building at that point? There were like
yeah, there was a
usually
lot. There was about 12
five or
units at
yeah,
one point.
that's what we got to. So I think in the beginning it was like five or six. And then
Yeah,
Neighbors was one, and then there was almost the same exact thing, but a little bit bigger. There's some really tough competition when you think about it.
yeah, there definitely was. So that didn't help the cause at all.
No, definitely not.
And then I think what was it after we hit the 60-day mark or 65 to 70 day, we had a long conversation with them and really broke down the numbers, price per square foot, and we were able to get them. Did we lower it again to 1.2 or?
Yeah, we lowered it to 1.2, if I
Yeah,
remember right.
we lowered to 1.2, and from there, traction picked up a little more. It wasn't, dramatically more, but it was gradual. Every week we started getting about at least two a week, which was a
Yeah.
good sign. Um,
Yeah, because we were each showing it and we were getting some positive feedback. Like people basically walked in and liked the place. I think the monthlies were scaring some people off.
right.
Condos in general, I think that can be a problem.
What did you see as the biggest drawback when you were showing it? Like, because you showed it mostly.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
on,
mean, like I said, I think people came in, they were very impressed. Like you walk in, you have two bay windows, so you have an incredible view. It's the 10th floor, so um, yeah, I think people were very impressed, like with the first look of it. I
right.
think that particular layout had one sink in the master bathroom. I think
Right.
a lot of people, when they go into condos, they expect to have that kind of sweeping,
Yeah.
luxurious bathroom with like the double sinks and the his and
Right.
hers closets and stuff. So that didn't really have that. Even though
Yeah.
they did do California closets, which were really nice.
Right.
Um, I think that was the main thing, was that it was more striking in the main room kitchen. And I think a lot of people look at the bathroom, bedroom as a kind of indicator.
Right. Right.
So I think that plus the monthlies was what was making people like kind of on the fence. It wasn't that people hated it. I just think for the price, they wanted like a little more knock your socks off, and
Yeah.
that was holding
That
it
makes
back a little.
sense. Right. Right.
One couple who I think loved it otherwise, they were concerned with the sound because it is facing Fourth Ave,
Yeah, that was another thing. Yep, I remember
which is
that.
funny because 10 levels up, it's pretty quiet, you know.
Right.
Like I'm on a busy street and four up, and we're not that loud.
Right. Right.
We're like four and a half though, because my building's built weird.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
so I think that was the other issue, is that Fourth Ave, you know, there's the subway there, there's traffic.
Right.
So those were some of the obstacles. But a lot of people were asking me what the monthlies were. And then I think what was also tough from a selling perspective was that there was the tax abatement now that was running out in a couple of years. So people were concerned with what the current taxes are or what they're going to be.
Right. Right. Right.
So
Yeah, with the tax abatement, it's always a mystery if you don't know how to calculate it, what it's going to be after. Because
yeah, they're
I
hard to
mean,
calculate too.
if you're buying in 2021 and it expires 2025, you expect to be there at least 5 years. So you're going to get hit with you don't know what. But it's good to have an agent that can calculate it for you, or it's pretty easy to calculate once you research it. So it's not.
Yeah, I just did it this morning for somebody. It took me a while to understand it, but it's not that bad. I think so.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that was one of the pluses when we did finally find the couple who bought it. I think that agent was very solid with communicating that and asking us as well. And
Right, right.
I think the other thing to realize, kind of interesting, is if 7 years is your average hold time for buyers, and you're getting 5 years at a discounted rate tax wise, it's actually a
Right.
really good deal. So I think
Yeah.
that's where like the agent can express that to the buyers. And I think in this case, who we worked with was able to do that because the buyers were super concerned about that and ended up buying it. So
Yeah, they were very conservative, and Amjad, which is part of Compass as well, who is part of Compass as well, he did a good job in kind of prepping them and
yeah,
letting them see the, the looking past those monthlies a bit because that was huge on them.
yeah, I think
Initially, he
putting it
told me
in perspective, because he
they
was
were looking
comparing it back to Manhattan prices. He was
exactly.
explaining, you're probably going to hold it this long, and this is what your money's going to be doing and appreciating. So he really put it in context for them.
Yeah, I think he did a great job on that end.
He did a great job during the walkthrough also because there were a lot of small complaints. So
Yeah, no, he's
that
good.
was that was also tricky. Oh, that was another thing. So the when we first were showing it, some of the wood what do you call it? The wood plank flooring was busted up,
Oh yeah, in the
and
kitchen. Yeah,
when they fixed it in the kitchen and also right by the bathroom in the master bedroom, when they
right,
fixed it, they didn't really match the colors. It's the exact same wood, but the color was just like slightly off.
mm,
And I think that also concerned people.
right, right. Yeah.
Which yeah, it's funny because like going forward, I'm not sure completely how you fix that. Like I think part of that is on us just to talk to the people doing the work and kind of remind them what people are looking at.
Right.
A little FaceTime there goes a long way.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, it's kind of almost one of those things where, because one of the complaints was the wood was a little worn in the final walkthrough, right?
yeah, and
I mean,
it is a little worn. It's a
yeah,
little discolored, like where the couch was is one color, where the dining room table and the sun was hitting was a different color, and
yeah. I
the
mean,
new
with
wood
the
was different.
discount they got, I think it warrants, that you redo, you re sand them and repolish them. It's gonna cost you $2,000,
Yeah,
So
and I think that's why they eventually were like, okay, that's fine. Um,
right.
Talk about the discount though. So like, how did we? There's two real things to ask you. One is how did we negotiate the final price with the people who ended up buying it, and then also with the sellers, what was their time frame as far as selling, buying, and what was the price that made that all work?
Yeah, good
Well, let me put
question.
it.
So we were in like negotiations for like 48 hours for this one. It was very stressful, but we really had to leverage everything we had in contract, what they had on the buying end for themselves, the sellers buying in Bed-Stuy townhouse. Luckily, I was on that end as well, representing both them as the buyers and the seller who's selling the townhouse. So we got to the 100. The agreement was if we go past 100 days, both parties can decide if you want to break the contract because obviously it's not going to sell if it sits on the market for 100 days. So we hit the 100-day mark and we got an offer on the 100-day mark, or right before. I think we were at 95 days, and that offer actually came in higher than what we actually ended up selling it for. But they just weren't ready, or I didn't articulate myself well enough at the time, or leverage the other contract to get them to accept that offer.
Hmm.
So with that offer in, and after us losing that,
What was the number on that offer? That offer was one
that
point
offer was like 1-1. They came in at.
one. Sorry, I'm way off.
Yeah,
1-1.
they
Yeah.
came in at 1-1. Our last list price was 1.2. They weren't ready to take that. So, after talking to you, you were like, break it down to them price per square footage. And that's what we did. After we
It's
did the
funny
price
because our
per
price
square
per square
foot,
foot was
for
good.
what recently sold.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, at the price per square foot really helped because it warrant them to take, less, or warrant them to take what we initially what we finally ended up taking.
Hmm.
So after losing that first deal, I was like, I got to get creative. We can't lose another offer if we're off a couple tens of thousands of dollars. So what I did was
how
I
much
called
were we
the
actually off at that point? About 25 grand?
yeah, about 25 grand. It wasn't much. And what I was able to negotiate with the seller for the house they're buying in Bed-Stuy is, hey, I'll take off another 30, 40 grand, just get the deal done. Basically what the seller told me. He's like, I'd rather get the deal done, being that we've been in contract for so long, as opposed to breaking the contract and relisting and doing all the legwork that was needed.
Now,
So
he's an investor, right?
Amjad actually yeah, he's an investor. This is a flip for him.
See, I think
So with
the
hard
fact that you
money,
had an investor on one side was really great because he was super flexible. Like he was just like, let's
yeah,
do this.
right. So he
There you are.
yep, I'm back.
All right. So we were discussing last time the deal for 500 Fourth Avenue, and then there's the backside of the deal is that they're buying a place on Lexington Ave. So we were discussing basically how you were negotiating between the two things because we were I think we were about $25,000 off on the price for the sale of the condo.
Yeah.
So let's try to pick up where we left off.
Right. So there was a difference in that, and as mentioned, we were in contract with the other property, the townhouse in Bed-Stuy. So I was representing the seller and both the buyers on that transaction. So I was able to negotiate off that sale price, being that we did lock into contract pre-COVID. So we used COVID kind of as a bit of leverage to knock down that price where it would make sense for them to take a little less on the condo side.
How much less was it? What was the actual amount?
For the sale price?
Yeah. Last time we were talking about the basically this deal being on two sides, the fact that you're selling the condo and then those numbers didn't exactly match up. So you went back to the other side of the deal and did some
right. So
awesome
there was
negotiating.
there was a discrepancy. Like, I think they were like, hey, we'll take 1,000,001. That's the lowest we're willing to go, and that's it. There's nothing else we can do. So I took action into my hands, and I went to the seller of the townhouse that they're buying because I'm representing both the seller and Jenny and the buyers of that. So I told them
their names.
Yeah, sorry. Confidential.
Don't say Jenny and Ben.
Yeah, JB, sorry. Yeah, so I went back to the seller of the townhouse they're purchasing, and I told them the situation. I'm like, listen, it'll be foolish to lose a deal off of 25, 30 grand. Is there a way you can take off 30 grand off the sale price of what the original contract price is to accommodate them taking a little less, where, we can do this deal, move forward, and close both deals within the next couple months? So he was a bit hesitant. He was like, no way, I'm not going to do that. So I was like, you know what? Let me let him sleep on it. I call him in the morning and I ask him the same thing. And I'm like, are you sure you want to let this deal die? You're going to lose the contract on the townhouse. We're going to have to relist it, stage it, get all the pictures, floor plan. I'm like, by the time we have another buyer, it could be a while. So he finally agreed to it, and he said, just do what you need to do to get the deal done. So I went back to the sellers of the condo, and I explained to them that, hey, would you take this offer if I can get you 30 grand less off of the townhouse that you're in contract with? Obviously, the numbers made sense for them. You lose some here, but you win some here. So we were able to come to an agreement, and luckily we were able to get into contract, and eventually now we have closed on the condo.
I remember them being pretty stubborn, I guess is the word. Like they really weren't budging on that conversation. I remember being on the phone for that. And
yeah, it was tough. I mean,
really
it's also sentimental value, right? Because they see it as in, we don't care about the market price. This is what it costs, or what the value is to us, you know? So when you have that sentimental value, especially that was, I think that was their first home together, you know, as
It was their first home together. And I think the other thing that really had them kind of set, pie in the sky was that people were saying it was worth so much more, a year previous or 2 years.
pre-COVID. Yeah.
Yeah. So like those
Yeah.
two
So,
things just, it got like emotionally lodged in their head.
right.
I don't
And,
really think it was about the 20,000 or 25,000 specifically, but more the
right.
what it represented. But I mean, that was a cool conversation because I remember, I think you even lowered our fee, if I remember right.
Initially, yes, I did lower the fee initially because of I was doing both ends of the deal. But I didn't lower our fee. We ended up getting, the initial fee two, on each side. So I initially was going to do that, but I was able to get the seller of the townhouse to give them credit where we wouldn't have to take a hit on our fee.
It's awesome because I think he made a really smart move too, because why have all that money tied up when you can sell it?
Yeah, I mean, they're great. They were, solid buyers. We're almost getting ready to close on the townhouse now.
When is the close for the townhouse?
We don't have a specific date yet. I'm assuming probably the end of this month, February. So
Cool. Yeah, that'll be exciting. Then the whole thing's done at that point. It's
yeah,
very cool being on both sides of it. It's awesome.
yeah. I mean, by the time it gets done, it's really gonna be like a year because we were in negotiations pre-COVID of 2020,
It is.
which was in
Yeah,
March. Uh,
crazy. Yeah.
yeah, so it was a process, man. But I think you and I both learned a lot through this, and
For sure.
dealing with different personalities, negotiation tactics, and how helpful it is to be in full control of the deal if you're on both ends. I mean, I think that was key to get the deal done. If I didn't represent the seller on that side, it would have to go through another form of communication, which would be the other listing agent, and having him communicate it to him. So it could have gone either way if I wasn't in full control. Even being in full control, it could have gone either way as
Oh
well.
yeah, it could have gone either way. It felt
Yeah.
like it was just as likely to break down as it was to
Yeah,
succeed.
there was days that I didn't think this deal was gonna happen. I thought it was like, all right, 100 days is here. Let's just take it off the market. And but it was kind of a Hail Mary, and it landed.
It
So
was a bit of a Hail Mary. I think if there was another agent, you would have been like, if it was a great agent who could have talked this way, to talk to the seller of the townhouse about like what the holding costs would be and how much money it would cost in the long
yeah.
run. I think it still could have been done, but it would be like
Oh yeah, of course.
one more wrinkle. So I mean, it really is excellent to just be direct.
Right. And I it helped that I have a pretty decent relationship with the seller because we closed on a single family that he was selling in Queens.
That's the Queens, yeah.
Yeah, the Queens
I think
listing.
that
So
helps too.
we've kind of built a rapport where, we're very transparent with each other, and
Yeah.
we know at the end of the day what we want and what the number is to get done.
I
So
also think the sellers of the condos, like they're very educated, and I think it just took a certain amount of explaining everything back and forth. They needed to
right.
explain how they felt. We needed to explain our side. I think that was very cool about them. Like I remember being on the phone late with them, talking and talking and talking, and I
Yeah,
think
luckily they were very rational sellers as well.
yeah,
They were very number oriented, and when we gave them the numbers and the facts, they did come to their senses and realize that we are in a different market.
I don't remember if we talked about this the first part. Did you explain how you came to the numbers, like doing just the price per square foot and showing it to
Yeah, I
them?
think we did speak about that.
Okay, because I think that was part of what they were very rational
Right.
about. They responded to those kind of metrics really really well.
Yeah, yeah, but all in all, they were great. They showed us a great deal of respect in regards to
But yeah,
showing and responsiveness, and
super responsive.
they made it very easy for us in regards to showing as well.
Also, the apartment was beautiful, and that's another
Yeah,
thing. It was a very
definitely.
striking apartment to walk into. So that was
Yeah,
nice.
honestly, I thought it would sell quicker, but with the market conditions we were in, it ended up taking longer than expected.
This is Wilson and Ralph. What are we calling it? Deal dissection?
The deal dissection.
Okay, so this is the. Oh, and thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the content we put out. If you liked what you saw, please give us a like. Also, please watch our other videos over here and subscribe to our channel over here. Thanks.